Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have full review of this, which is the Roku Streaming Stick 4K. Let's get started. This is the first Roku accessory in stick format. That is, you can place it behind the TV without using too much space. It is completely hidden and gives you access to everything we are already used to on the Roku side. So before I start telling you everything you can do with it, let me tell you its price. In Mexico, it is 1,499 pesos. On the screen, you see the reference price in dollars if you are from another country, so that you have more or less an idea. But remember that the prices here are not the same as there. In many occasions, the prices in Mexico are a little higher. So now that we know its price, let's get to know completely what it can offer us, its design and other things. First, let me tell you what is included in the box. For starters, we'll find the stick, which as you'll notice is quite small. I can even cover it practically in its entirety with my hand. So it is very thin and very compact. Also included is the remote control and the AAA batteries. Also included in the box is the charging adapter to be able to have power on this device. And the cable that we will use for this purpose, which comes with USB-A on one side. Then it comes with a sufficiently extended length, even a ribbon, to be able to have everything well organized. But something that catches my attention is that in this middle of the power cable comes a Wi-Fi antenna extender, so that you can have a good reception even if your router is not very close. And at the other end we finally find micro USB. So the operation of this device is very simple. You simply connect it to the TV as if it were a USB stick to the computer. But in this case, it does not have a USB connector, but HDMI, so that it can give you the video signal. Then you will connect the micro USB cable to this stick to power it. And the other end, which is USB-A, you could connect it directly to a power outlet of your TV in case it has one. Or you could use the charging adapter that comes included in the box. It's up to you what you prefer. Although if you want this stick to have the ability to power up your TV, you'll obviously need to use this charging adapter to put it in a standby mode. So this is the contents of the box, and this is how you're going to be able to connect this device to your TV. It's pretty straightforward. Now let me tell you a few more little details that we can notice about the stick. As you may have already noticed, it comes with a micro USB port for power connection, and on the other end it comes with a small reset button in case something is not working properly, although it will be unusual to use it. On the front we simply have the HDMI connector and nothing else. And in this upper part is also placed an LED indicator of the status of the device. Although since it will be behind the TV, it will be unusual to see that LED. This HDMI connector has enough quality to give us a 4K signal with HDR, so it is very useful for TVs that have this technology. If your TV is not 4K or does not have HDR, possibly the best option is to go for inferior models, because you are not really going to take advantage of the capabilities that this stick has. However, if your TV has this quality, you will definitely be able to enjoy the capabilities it will offer. If it is still not very clear to you what this stick would be useful for, basically if your TV is not smart, it can provide you with these capabilities. Or if your TV has an operating system that you do not like and you do not feel comfortable with it, simply connect this and you will completely change the operating system, since even the Roku control can also manipulate various options of your TV depending on the compatibility of different models. And finally, regarding the stick, speaking at the hardware level, it has support for Wi-Fi 5 networks. In this sense, we are not in front of the state-of-the-art, which would be Wi-Fi 6. However, due to the Wi-Fi extender that comes with the power cable, you can get good coverage. Regarding the control is comfortable to hold in your hand. A small detail that I found curious was the small ribbon with fabric that has at the bottom. The placement of the button seems a bit strange to me, because the back button is above the navigation buttons, when in most TVs and similar systems, the back button is always below the navigation keys. It's just a curious detail, not that one thing is better than the other, but if you're used to it, you might get a little confused. The buttons give a very nice feel to the touch because of the travel they offer, and also as you notice it includes a button for voice control, which I'll tell you about in a moment, but it also has buttons for playback control and finally buttons for direct access to different platforms like Netflix, Apple TV, ViX and Prime Video. You're probably wondering where the volume buttons are. Well, they are on the side. In true smartphone style, we have the buttons to control this section here, along with a button to mute the TV completely. I insist that the control experience is very pleasant, only with this detail of the back button that I personally found a little strange. One of the strong points could be the fluidity, because definitely that the operating system feels that it responds quite well fast. It doesn't feel like it freezes at any time. And another point in its favor is undoubtedly the access to the free channels that Roku has in the live TV section. You can browse the entire channel guide in this section, and believe me, there are too many channels. So you can also add your favorite channels so you can enjoy them with quicker access whenever you want. And just like if you have access to some cable TV service, you can browse the whole guide with the different channels. So I think you have a very good amount of channels, obviously free to watch. So that would be one of the differentiators of Roku over other platforms. But in addition to that, it's obviously going to offer you the basics in terms of content and consumption of streaming platforms like access to Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, Apple TV. We even have the TV Azteca channel, Fox Sports, ViX, access to YouTube obviously, as it could not be otherwise, also Paramount Plus, Star Plus. Well, I think that in this sense it complies with what one would expect from a device that is focused on streaming platforms. So it will give you access to everything you could ask for, and interestingly enough, it could also give us access to some obviously basic level games. For example, I installed Tetris and some others that, as I said, are simple games, but even with this level of entertainment. So it would not only give you access to multimedia content consumption, but also a certain level of entertainment in the form of very simple games, but that could give you that level of entertainment that you need at times. The interface is very simple to use, since on the left side we have a column with the main categories, and on the right side directly access to applications, games or services. On the home screen you can obviously place the accesses you want, because if you press the asterisk button that has the control, you could also move the application up or change its position and even uninstall it directly. So this home screen can be completely customized to your liking to have access to your favorite applications instantly. Then there is the live TV section, where you can also explore a little more visually the content that you can get to see through the free channels offered by ViX. But as I say, you could also explore the entire guide completely once you're inside these channels. So here we have a huge variety of free content, but not only there, but you could also explore the don't miss it or free highlights section, which is where it will give you some other recommendations of content that you can view at no cost. In the My List section, we are obviously going to find recommendations for us based on the content we have watched. In this case, I haven't watched too many things, so that's why it doesn't show a lot of options. But the curious thing here is that it will show us both free content and content that requires some subscription. For example, if we choose any of these movies, we can see that it will give us the options of where we can watch it. For example, in Disney Plus, we could watch it if we have a subscription, or we can rent the movie on Prime Video or on Apple TV, depending on which service we want to use. So it is not married only with the service, but it can offer you the different platforms where you can view all this content. Similarly, you can specifically search for any content, and it will tell you on what channel or on what platform you could get to view it. And finally, we have access to the store, where we can access the applications or games that are available to install. For example, here I started to explore the games, but as I say, they are simple games, mostly two-dimensional, nothing more for basic entertainment, but that could help you at some point. Finally, we will have access to the configuration, where we can configure even other controls. Something I like is that it also allows you to change the wallpaper or customize it, and that is something I had not seen so far on other platforms. So I think you can get to have a little more customizable experience, and this could be another differential factor in case you are one of those people who really like to customize their experience on different devices. Notice how I already changed the wallpaper, so it looks completely different operating system. You can select the one you want. Obviously, the Roku default is the one that will look a little bit better adapted throughout the interface, but it also offers us screensavers. Notice how we could put some clock or some other movements on the screen so that in case you are not using the TV, it starts this type of screensavers. You can also get to configure if you want to display some other backgrounds based on the seasons or even sponsored content. You could go so far as to disable it here. You can also disable some animations, and you can configure how much time you want to pass before the other wallpaper appears. You can also configure your screen type, but ideally leave it on the automatic setting where you can select if this screen supports Dolby Vision at what resolution specifically. You can also get to customize the subtitles and some other audio things. In fact, in the audio, what caught my attention is that when you are inside some content, you can enable a night mode on the sound. Let me enable some content, and pressing the asterisk button again, notice that it includes volume mode, and from here we can have a night mode that will make the sounds that are very loud actually have a certain limit, and that I had not seen in other devices, and that's why I found it quite curious. It also has a guest mode that can help you simply deactivate your subscription so that someone else can start their own subscriptions, and you can set up your home screen, add a payment method for apps that require it. In a moment more we see Apple AirPlay, but that's basically all you can get to do. So all in all, it seems to me to be a pretty mature proposition in terms of enabling streaming content on TVs. Now let me show you how wireless screen projection works, which is without any hassle. From Android, I'm going to select the project screen option if your cell phone is compatible, and notice that I'm simply going to select the device from the list, and the projection is going to start practically instantly, although I have to give it permission. There, as you can see, the option is appearing. I can select always allow so that next time it will not ask me for authorization again, and that will be all. It will immediately start the wireless projection of my screen, and as you can see, it will respond in a good way. It has a little latency, that must be said, although it can also vary a lot depending on the model of the cell phone and other things, but in general we could say that it is a projection that could be useful for you. From your iPhone, you could also start the screen projection in the quick settings. Again, the Roku device will appear among the list of devices compatible with this screen projection, and just like that you can start it. In this case, the first time you do the projection, it asks you for a pin that shows you on the screen, and the following occasions do not ask you for any kind of key. And I must say that on iPhone, the screen projection goes with less latency, so it feels a little higher quality. But note that since it has AirPlay, you could even project directly from your Mac. You simply go to the quick settings and again choose duplicate screen, choose Roku, and notice how it shows me a pin. I'm just gonna type that pin here on the screen, and with that I can connect my computer to this external monitor and I can enjoy the whole experience. In this case, it was set up as an additional screen and not as a duplicate screen, but we can also set it up to show exactly the same thing that we're seeing on our computer. So it's very handy to be able to connect your computer in this way to your TV as well. And as you can see, Windows computers are also able to wirelessly project their screen to this Roku, so it's compatible with everything. Finally, note that the mobile application is also available for all operating systems, where we will also have access to the same suggestions that gives us from the TV, and from here we can start playing this content if we want. It also includes the search engine in case it is easier for you to search using the cell phone keyboard, because sometimes the keyboard of televisions is not usually very comfortable. You can also access the remote control to have all the controls virtually from your cell phone in case you prefer to use it, or you are one of the people who suddenly cannot find the remote control. So it definitely has very good support, and it looks like a very complete device. So for the moment, this has been all regarding this Roku Streaming Stick 4K. Let me know in the comments what you thought. I hope you liked this video. If you did, you know you can tell me, and we'll see you next time.